Thank you for joining in to the Paper Towel Podcast. We have an amazing show for you guys today. We have an amazing producer and actor based out of Los Angeles, California. And without further ado, let's jump into it. If you'd like to just introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Jack.
Well, that's awesome, Jack. I guess I just really wanted to start off. I understand that you have a background in both acting and producing. I guess one of the first questions that I really wanted to ask you was, how did you first get introduced into acting, or what kind of pathways did you find that kind of led you into that world?
Okay. Yeah, I started acting when I was like 4 years old. So I'm one of those pricks.
Okay, so you started acting at 4 years old. Was there like an acting school or something like that in your neighborhood that you just found, or how did that end up happening?
I actually just I would start like just memorizing scenes from films and performing them. I don't even remember doing this, but this is what my parents tell me. And then by age like 8 or 9, I think I shot my first film. I can't remember exactly when, but it was a full short, and I wrote it and directed and starred in it. And then I've been doing it with friends ever since. Yeah.
Awesome. So you started at such a young age, and obviously when you get into like this new kind of world of the entertainment industry, there's so many people that have all these different acting coaches or singing coaches or their outlets or stuff that they go to. Is there anything specific that you did that kind of makes you stand apart from the other people?
Um. Geez, these are tough questions, man. I don't know. I know. I wasn't prepared for this. Guys, check in. No, I don't know. I went to New York Film Academy for a year out of high school.
Uh-huh.
It's a college. It's considered a college, so I did a year there, and then I went to Playhouse West after that, which is like a Meisner-based school here in LA. It's very well respected. Like people that come out of it were like Mark Pellegrino, James Franco, a few other big names, and yeah, I guess I having the filmmaking aspect, I feel like I made a lot more connections that way than just being an actor.
Awesome.
Although I luckily had some really great opportunities purely as an actor, where I don't even mention my filmmaking background. So a lot of people, like, since I produced a few films with like some pretty big celebrities in them, want to get to know me for that reason. So
That's wow. And then just talking about making connections, I guess I was doing a deep dive on your Instagram account a couple of days ago. And so I was looking through some of the stories that you posted. And I kind of noticed that you had an opportunity to work with some, you had the opportunity to work with some big social media stars like James Charles and Bryce Hall. Can you just tell me how that came to be, the whole entire dynamic of how that even started, how you got in contact with these people, or did they contact you?
Well, I kind of got started, working with influencers. I started doing that when I did a film with my very good friend Gilbert Sosa, who is a pretty big influencer. He directed it, and I was a producer on it. And we did that down in Mexico, and we had influencers act in it. So we had like Tabo Betancourt, who's absolutely huge, and Nashla, and a couple other TV stars down in Mexico. And we did a short film, and we released on YouTube, and it got like 1.2 million views. So we had that big success. And then I went on and I shot a lot of content for my friend Paul Butcher, who was, if you don't recognize his name, he was Dustin on Zoe 101. And I got a big online following. So I did like a lot of his Bang Energy commercials. And then I worked with a couple other people outside of that. So I just kind of slowly built that resume, which is kind of, I consider pretty separate from the filmmaking kind of, because it's like a different circle.
It's like it's a whole different world, the social media world, and then
Yeah.
like actually filming. It's really hard to see both of them mesh, but when they do mesh, it's really interesting, and I think a lot of people kind of gravitate towards that.
Yeah, if you can have a successful film with influencers, I think that's something a lot of people think can't be done. But I found that to be possible. You know, if you get the right people, it's all about casting. I mean, you could have a film and you cast poorly, influencers or not, and it's gonna suck. You know, so being an influencer doesn't preclude somebody from being a good actor, but you just what the mistake would be to cast an influencer just because they're have a following and not like really look into their acting or make sure they're right for the part.
So some of the things that I kind of noticed about your work is that you've done a lot of stuff as a producer. I just wanted to, just so our audience knows, what are some of the kind of aspects or jobs that a producer does on a shoot?
Um, like you pretty much a real producer, like a full, if you have a full producer credit, you would be involved at the script stage of, God damn it, what is happening? At the script stage of the project, and you'd be like involved basically in every single step, all the way through to like distribution. So that's you know pretty much running the business and all the organization of the entire project, um, which I prefer to direct and act, honestly. But producing is just something you everybody needs one, and it's something I learned to do directing and like making my own films, I guess. And I still do it for my own stuff. It feels a lot less like work when you're just trying to make your project happen.
And just a question that I had, how long would you say that it takes for a production from start to finish?
Well, if everything goes perfectly, which it never does, I would say like you could theoretically do it in 1 year. If you have, let's say you have a script, because a script could take years to write.
Mm-hmm.
You know, depends. So like once you have a script, then if you do everything right, you could do it in a year and have it turned out. But like realistically, like 2 to 3 years, I'd say.
And then just something that I'm curious about is just kind of the different aspects of people and how you said that film film could take about a year to just produce from start to finish. If you're a producer, an actor, or someone like that, do you work on multiple projects in a year?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, like for short films and stuff like that, it can take a lot shorter. Um, so like I act in a lot of different things throughout the year that I'm not involved in any other capacity. And then I try to direct something every year. I mean, I direct a lot of content for influencers, which I don't really consider the creative directing the way I like to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of a narrative guy, so that's what we're actually gearing up to do a non-union TV pilot, like a 30-minute pilot. It's going to be like a fun action adventure thing. So that's the project I'm focused on right now.
That's awesome. I know we had talked about it before, but if I understand correctly, you have a new movie that's going to be hitting theaters by the end of this month.
Yeah, I was just one of the producers on it. I mean, not to say I didn't bust my ass to make that happen, but we had a lot of people, a lot of producers help throughout the way to get this one done for sure. And it's called Last Call, and it's starring Risa Fons, John Malkovich, Rodrigo Santoro, Tony Hale, and Zosha Mamet. So,
and so with that film, if you could just walk us through kind of all the different aspects that you were a part of when it came to this film.
I was involved after it was shot, actually, and it ran into some issues, and I spoke with the director, who also happened to be the writer and kind of one of the pretty much the lead producer on that project. But his love is the creative. He's if you look him up, Steven Bernstein, he's one of the most prolific cinematographers of our time. He did studio film after studio film, from The Water Boy to Monster with Charlize Theron. Then he went on to direct. So I stepped in, and I had some radical ideas as to like how we could solve some of the issues that the film was facing, and he liked a lot of them, so he brought me in as a producer, and him and I worked pretty much from that point to just solve all the issues and get the film distributed.
Another one of the questions that I kind of had for somebody that's a producer that kind of sees stuff from start to finish, who understands what it's like being an actor, a director, kind of just all these different aspects of it, is when you're starting a project and you are casting, what are some of like the different aspects that you look for when you're looking for actors?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of very particular when I cast people, which annoys a lot of my friends because I just have a very specific vision for my projects. For each character, I have an image in my head, and all the time, especially since I write a lot of my own stuff. So I look for them to have the energy of the character, to have the look, and to have the talent. So those three things. When I've cast other people's shorts and stuff like that, and I'm a little bit more forgiving. So like, but we want to see the talent there. We want to see you put the work into the audition. We understand, auditions are auditions. It's not a part. So, we don't expect you to bring everything you'd be bringing to the table for like when you're actually performing the scenes, because it's not guaranteed you're going to get paid. It's kind of on spec, but we want to see the energy. We want to see the it factor, I guess, which is hard to have. I mean, it's just something you have to kind of study. People who are like leading actors, what is that? They have that it factor, and it's hard to describe it in a tangible way, but you have to have it and try to develop your own shtick, I guess, your own little way of standing out as an actor.
I really understand the kind of like that aspect of it, just from my own personal experience trying to do some of the short films. And when you do get into it, you just have this like tunnel vision. And I just wanted to know from you if it's hard to kind of convey a message to your peers or other people that are working with you on like how you exactly want it done.
Yeah, I agree. It's a skill you develop over a career. The great directors can articulate exactly what they want, and they know how to phrase things to draw a performance out of an actor, as well as communicate to the DP and the producers their vision. And that's something that just I've seen people have a natural knack for it. It comes down to communication, right? It's something you can learn over time. Some directors are way better at it than others. You don't have to be perfect at it to make a great film, but it certainly helps to make things easier on everybody else to deliver on what you're looking for, right?
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Just kind of out of curiosity too, I understand that you do a lot of writing and directing and your own stuff. When you have kind of this control of what you're able to do you find yourself using kind of the same exact people that and you trust in your films?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I've definitely worked with a lot of the same people over multiple projects. But that's not to say I branch out a lot as far as like working with new cinematographers, new directors, new actors, especially because people like move in and out of LA and move in and out of anywhere really. So it does change up quite a bit, but I certainly love having a go-to, somebody I know can deliver what I'm looking for. And I don't have to kind of take a leap when I bring them in.
So when creating a film, I understand that there's a whole kind of business kind of aspect to it. And some films obviously have bigger budgets than others, but how do you raise the money? And then at the same time, how do you kind of distinguish what's going to go to what?
There's people called line producers you can pay to break down your script and make a budget for you. And it's, if you can, a lot of them charge quite a bit because it's an extensive process. You have to actually know what you're doing. or you could just kind of ballpark it yourself, just break down every scene and say, what props do we need? What locations do we need? Can we get them for free? Is it stuff we already have or stuff we're going to need to pay? And then it's all the line producer does all this stuff. They also break down like what days you're going to shoot what, basically, how many days is it going to take? How many scenes can you bunch together and get done in one day? So then, like your day rates of the actors and the crew, and you can calculate, how many days it's going to take to shoot and who you're going to have to pay on those days. It's a convoluted process, I'd say. Yeah.
And then when it comes to actually raising the money, because I know you can work with like some of like the bigger production companies and they'll pay for a good chunk of it. Or when you're doing an independent film, how do you go about raising that money as well?
It's tough. I mean, you have to know people who are willing to put money into your film. Really. I mean, I don't think crowdfunding, I've never had success with it. I think, the money I've raised is just from people I know, a few thousand here, a few thousand there for like short films. I've gone to bigger companies for bigger projects and, gotten them to put some money in. But it's really, really tough. I mean, it's not something that's easy for me even.
A lot of people are trying to break into the industry as directors, producers, actors, but having you been what?
I said, are they?
Well, a good number. Some of them.
How many?
I don't know. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but there's a good chunk of people trying to be actors at some point in their life where they just see it on the TV screen and they go, man, I can do that. But there's a lot of different behind the scenes people that work, from people who work as cameramen to kind of makeup and all the other different things that come with a movie set. Mm-hmm. As you being a producer, someone who has kind of worked over and seen the whole entire production of a film, how do you find and contract with these people who are makeup artists or special effects or cameramen? How do you find them?
I know more than I could hire as far as people who are cinematographers, honestly. It's just something when you're filmmaking, you run into people, especially in LA, that are looking for work. I get emails all the time for cinematographers. Makeup people, I usually do through word of mouth because I've had bad experiences with some. And as far as everything else, it's like pretty much word of mouth. Yeah. Yeah, I work with so many people at I'm the point where I'm at that I have a good contact base for like both New York and LA. But like, it's not hard. I mean, you could go on filmmaking forums and find people in your city. On Facebook, I find, I try to like answer some people's questions sometimes, but those can be pretty brutal places. I mean, a lot of really, really green people and a lot of people who shouldn't be giving advice, offering advice. But, like I said, yeah, you could definitely find people on those at least to start off.
So now kind of getting into some of the personal thoughts. Just really curious, what is one of the worst pieces of advice that you've ever heard someone tell someone?
Oh, I got told some pretty bad advice when I was starting out as an actor. I was told not to join SAG and try to avoid joining SAG as much as possible so I could build up a good work base, I guess, of non-union films, because like it is difficult to do a non-union film once you become SAG. But and in reality, it was really bad advice because being SAG means like it's really a lot of casting directors look for that. A lot of people look for that. They don't want a Taft-Hartley, which is they shouldn't. I was just talking about this with one of the head casting directors at Warner Brothers yesterday, and he was saying, it's kind of a silly way of thinking because in reality, it's not hard to Taft-Hartley somebody, which would be when somebody's non-union and you hire them for a union project. You have to submit a Taft-Hartley report, which is basically this is their resume. This is why we're casting them. There's a fee associated with it. That's not too much. It's like $500 for production. And you submit it to SAG and they can approve or deny you hiring that person. And if they approve it, which they usually do, if you're hiring somebody with any sort of experience base, they become instantly SAG and they have to pay their dues and everything. But basically you can take a non-union actor, hire them for your SAG project, make them union off the bat like that. And yeah, it's unfortunate. Like a lot of people have the wrong idea about it. They think that's a difficult process that they don't want to deal with. So it kind of cuts a lot of actors who are non-union out of opportunities. But in reality, it's not too difficult.
So kind of just piggybacking on that, how does an actor kind of join this union?
Like I said, you could get Taft-Hartley, which is basically like if you audition for a union project and they're like, we need this guy, and then they're gonna do that on their end. Or you could do background work where you do that through central casting, and they cast pretty much all of the extra work in all the major films and TV shows. And if you get 3 voucher or something like, I don't know, 3 to 7 vouchers or something. Basically, if you work, you get a voucher if you work as an extra on a union project. And then once you get a certain amount of vouchers, you can become SAG eligible. And then you won't really run into those issues.
Okay. And so now flip-flopping, what is some of the best advice that you've ever been given or you could give to somebody who's trying to find their way into this industry?
I think, whether you're filmmaking or acting or producing, you really have to work insanely hard, like really, really hard, every day to be able to contend, because there's so many opportunities you're not going to get. There's so many opportunities you do get that don't go anywhere, and it's just a numbers game. So you need to be developing meetings, opportunities, auditions, whatever, every single day for yourself to have one of them pop off. It's really difficult. I mean, I've done over 40 auditions, and I think probably I've done like 50 auditions maybe in the past few years. And I think I only booked like maybe 5 parts basically. So, what is that, like one in 10 you'll get if you really know what you're doing. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're not even going to get that. Sorry, it's my Grubhub driver's messaging me.
Oh, is he close?
No, he said he's going to come tomorrow. So.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know what that noise is. It needs to stop though. Yeah, but yeah, no. Are you? So you're a filmmaker too?
Yeah. So I did a couple small things a couple years back, and then I kind of transitioned into like YouTube and kind of stuff like that, and creating on there as a platform. And then I have a bunch of friends that were kind of also creators and interested in this. When it comes to this podcast, it kind of got me started on this journey of who I want to meet or kind of make connections and stuff like that within the entire industry, and kind of understand how hard it is to actually get into it, how hard it is to even succeed in an industry, even if you can get into it. And so that's kind of the start of this podcast, and just being able to reach out and talk to a bunch of different people from a wide background has been fun.
Yeah, I bet. How many people have you interviewed so far?
You're the first one.
Oh, wow.
But
it's a good place to start, I will say.
Yeah.
Definitely not. You're off to a good start. Good response, Mike Grubhub driver.
Okay. So what are you ordering from Grubhub?
I was kidding. I didn't order anything.
Darn it.
Yeah.
I've been having this idea that you're gonna get something from Grubhub, and
I know. I don't have any treats. I got it not until I get my audition done. Yeah.
What is the role that you're auditioning for?
I'm auditioning for the lead role in Jay Alvarez's feature. I think it's his first feature. And it's being exec produced by the Russo brothers, which is pretty incredible.
Wow.
And it's sent a lot of pages of sides. So that's fun, I guess. Yeah, no, I'm excited though about it. Like, it's just, I want to nail it. And it's funny, like, what I like with a lot of TV sides and a lot of like really big movies, like huge budget movies, they'll send like 1 or 2 pages of sides to perform. That's it. Like my friend auditioned for White Boy Rick and Ready Player One, like the lead in both of those, and they just sent 1 page of sides, just to get a flavor. But I find in like independent productions, I think this is one of them. They tend to ask a lot more as far as the actor for the audition, like a lot of pages of sides, which I get. I get because you want to see how how they're going to perform like your favorite scenes of something you've written. I've been guilty of doing that too for stuff I cast, is just sending 2 big scenes, and I'm sure the actors hate it, but when you're the one picking the people, you get to ask what you want to ask for. Yeah. Oh, this is the paper towel podcast. So.
Yeah,
we're cleaning things up, right?
Cleaning things up and soaping up information.
Yes, and reusable too. If you buy the good stuff.
Well,
I've done a few other podcasts. I don't know if you knew that. I hate to break it to you. Quite a few.
Darn, I'm not the first?
No, unfortunately not.
But you're the first for me.
Yes.
So,
yes. As far as I know.
So it's like having something special.
It is special. Yes. You're the first one this month, so pretty good.
There we go. I mean,
it's something.
I'm gonna put that on my resume now.
Yeah, I know. See, I love talking and hearing myself talk. So anytime somebody offers to do a podcast with me, I say yes.
Just so that you can listen to it in like a week or so.
Yeah, I watch it immediately. It comes out. I just put it on repeat for like good 24 hours. Then I just put on the old ones and really pump myself up.
When you go to the gym to work out, it's just your full playlist is.
Yeah. Well, when I do that, I have my home gym, so I just put on tape of me working out other times. So, what
was high school like for you?
Obviously was the coolest guy in high school. I
could see it just by your looks.
I wasn't. I was not popular up until like 10th grade, and then I beat up a bully, and then I was popular.
Wow. So
I always thought I was cool. Everybody else just didn't see it,
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. That's very similar to me, but a lot of people don't understand the creative kind of aspect of just putting out content and stuff like that. So I got a lot of people thinking I was just weird holding a camera around school.
Gotcha.
And then
people, anything that's not in the norm, people pick at in like high school and all that shit,
Mm-hmm.
And I wore a ring that said like had a guy's name on it. It's my favorite character from Kingdom Hearts, Riku, and people accuse me of being homosexual, and not in such nice terms either. Yeah, no, I wasn't doing that, so I don't know what it's like, but I can see why people might pick you apart. But you know what? I had friends who got famous on YouTube in high school, so
you're one lucky guy. You get all these amazing connections.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I live in Inglewood, so I don't know how lucky I really am, but
it just so happens that the location that you're in is.
Yeah, it's a little rough and tumble around here. Yeah, I think I don't know if anyone like out of my high school really blew up. I mean, I didn't go to school in California. I went to school in Rhode Island. And yeah, I think I don't know who would be the most successful person.
Probably you.
I am. Thank you. But I would be so presumptive to say that. I don't know. I don't know where a lot of people ended up staying in the same town. A lot of people I think it's just like a millennial thing and the way the economy is. A lot of my friends, went to college, but then they bounce around from job to job. And yeah, I think it's just a tough time to be human, really.
Just
It's a weird time. Yeah. I mean, I think see like a lot of people like just, and I don't think I think like a lot of boomers like blame like personality type or the generation, but I think it has a lot more to do with the way like society is, that like people don't stick with one job and just grow up that ladder. I've seen a lot of people like just live more bohemian lifestyles, and like I had one friend who did some like, I forget, he did sales or something, and then he bought a house and he doesn't live in the house, he rents the house out to other people and he lives in his car.
Oh,
which is interesting.
Which makes total sense. Let me just buy this expensive house and have to pay everything for it, and then just live life in my Toyota Corolla. So I'm going to end it off right there. Thank you, Jack, for being on the first episode of the Paper Towel Podcast. For everybody out there listening, go follow Jack on Instagram. Look at the work that he's done. And remember to go watch Last Call in theaters November 25th. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, man. It was a pleasure. We'll talk soon.
Yep, hopefully we will.
Okay.
All right. See you.
Bye-bye.